those years looking at other riders' datas. So I'm going to tell you everything you need to know for racing lines, braking markers, gears used in the corners, specific technique for each corner to improve your riding and improve your lap times. As you exit the last corner and get into the finish straight, start-finish straight, start to make your way to the left side of the track gradually, and this is to get ready to brake for turn 1 red gate. So we're now fast approaching turn 1 red gate. So at this stage you want to keep an eye for your braking marker, which is going to be somewhere near the end of the pit wall there on the left, the metallic rail on the left, just there. Turn 1 red gate is a V-shaped corner riding style, so that means you need to go hard in, sacrifice a bit the corner speed and accelerate hard out of it. So to do that you're going to have to get a late apex, and as soon as you get your late apex you're going to have to accelerate hard, picking your bike, which means reducing the leaning that you've got to be able to accelerate hard. Gear wise, I am getting there today in 4th and will downshift to 2nd, and this is because I am using a completely standard road bike and the gearing is quite long. For your bike you might be getting there in 5th, so you might have to downshift 3 gears. So this is your braking marker for turn 1 red gate. I always use here the end of the grass or the end of the pit wall as a visual marker. Always brake normally just a bit before. It really depends what bike you're using and what speed you're getting there, but this is a very clear visual marker that you can use to gauge yourself. Now, one important thing here is not to cross the dotted white line that is the exit of the pit lane a little bit after that when you're braking. This is dangerous because potentially somebody might be coming out, and also it's sleepy. I have seen people crashing there and you're still doing high speed, so do not cross it. There's nothing to gain from doing that, so it's best to just forget about it and brake just along it. This is that white dotted line that I was talking about, so avoid going on it and even worse, crossing it. Just stay along this line for your braking. Now, one important thing to remember is when you start rolling your throttle off and start braking with the front brake, remember to downshift immediately. This will increase your braking power. As you start tipping the bike for turn 1, you will see the curb on the inside. Now do not go for that. You must stay in the entry at least 2.5–3 meters from that. This will allow you to get a late apex and a much better corner exit. As you crack the throttle open, aim for your late apex. Now once you're going to get there, you're going to need to pick up your bike and accelerate hard. So it's time for corner exit now. So really important to look far away here, where this arrow is, and to get a good corner exit. So you need to reduce the leaning of your bike to be able to accelerate harder. And it's very important to gain a lot of speed here, because all the speed that you're gaining, you're going to carry into the next section. Right, so let's recap red gate turn 1 at full speed. Now it's time for my secret tip number 1. So this one I actually learned from Valentino back in 2007 when I could look at his data. And we're talking about short shifting 3rd and 4th very fast before going into Hollywood. So basically you're exiting red gate, hard on the throttle, in 2nd gear, the RPM are coming up. When you get to the top of the RPM, you want to short shift 3rd and 4th very, very fast. This will have a double effect. It will stop the rear spinning. It will also settle your bike on a low power of RPM to help you carry speed down Hollywood. Turn 2, Hollywood. So this is 4th gear corner, so it's fast. And you want to keep a constant throttle to keep a constant speed. You also want to stay close to both inside curbs. So this is the first curb you want to be aiming at. You don't want to be more than a meter away from that. And your second curb, try and stay as close as possible to it. Turn 3, Craner's curves. So it's 4th gear, we do not change gear here. No braking, and try and be smooth and carry corner speed. Now this corner is renowned for its crashes, so there's quite a few crashes here because we have not turned left for quite a while. So if the track is a bit cold or your tires are new or not quite up to temperature, it's very easy to crash. So you got to take it easy here on the change of direction. try and be smooth and carry that much needed corner speed. Secret tip number 2, use a roll down of the throttle to help change direction, and this is going to load the front as well, because we're not braking here with the front. We haven't got much load on the front tire, and this is why there's so many crashes as well here. So by rolling the throttle, you're going to help to change the direction, because on throttle bikes don't want to turn, they just want to understeer all the time. So by rolling the throttle down, you will help to change the direction, the bike will become less physical, and this also will transfer weight to the front tire, so this is going to give you more grip for corner curves. As you change direction, it's a little bit blind, it's difficult to see the apex for a corner curve, so this is where you want to be aiming at. On the apex of craners, you see this little tarmac patch here. Now try and stay away from this, so I always stay about a meter off the apex here, or 50 centimeters to a meter. This patch creates a bit of a bump, and for me creates a little bit of a lack of grip, so try and stay away from it. As soon as you pass the apex in craners, open the throttle a bit more to gain a bit of speed, but don't go too wide. You can use these marks, these black marks on the floor here as a reference, so not really too much more than 2/3 of the track. Now let's watch that last section in real speed, so that's approach to Hollywood, Hollywood and craners. Turn 4, hold hairpin. So we're going to downshift from 4th to 3rd gear. We're going to use the front brake to help turning. This is going to transfer weight to the front and help to change direction. And we don't want to use all the track on the exit. We need to leave at least 2 meters from the curb. So the use of the front brake here has a double effect. Of course, it's going to help us slow down, but it's also going to help us change direction. When we exit craners, we are leaning left and we need to brake and change direction, turn right for hold hairpin. So touching the front brake when we are still leaning left, this is going to transfer weight onto the front and it's going to help us brake steer. We have to make the most of the braking when the bike is straight. So braking as hard as you can when the bike is straight. And then we still want to be trail braking a little bit because this is downhill, so going into hold hairpin, this is going to help us close the turn. When the bike is straight, this is when you want to make the most of the braking. So this is where you'll be able to slow the bike down the most. And you want to be aiming at that curb down there where this arrow is. As you go into hold hairpin, try to brake a little bit to help closing the turn because it's downhill. And aim where the arrow is really close to the curb. Arrow is really close to the curb. On the exit of hold hairpin, remember not to go too wide. You need to leave a couple of meters from the curb. The real important thing here is to come back to the right side of the track, so you will be able to change direction in a good way and get a really good drive up to Schwanz curve. Turn 5, Starkey's Bridge. So you want to use a short shift to position yourself. I will explain this in a minute. And here, don't forget that the priority is to position yourself in the best way possible to get a really good drive up to Schwanz curve. This is where you can make the time. And you also want to aim inside the curb because the speed will push you away. So a trick here is to actually aim a little bit in the grass, and you will not go in the grass, I guarantee you that. And it will help you having a much better line. Secret tip number 3, short shift to 4th to help changing direction. So you are exiting the hold hairpin in 3rd gear, powering really hard, trying to go to the right side as much as you can. And now you need to change direction for Starkey's Bridge, which is a really fast left. Under power, the bike just wants to understeer. So if you short shift to 4th at that moment, you will make the bike more nimble. You will interrupt that momentum of power that is pushing you away. And the bike will become more maneuverable and you will be able to hold a tighter line into Starkey's Bridge. Once you've done your change of direction, you need to be looking at that curb and you need to be looking inside the curb. This is a little trick because at this place the bike always wants to understeer and you're always pushed away from the curb. So if you aim inside it, you've got more chance to be really tight to it. As soon as you pass the apex, look up far away and make the most of the drive. This drive is actually quite long and there is an opportunity here to gain a lot of time or to lose some. So look very far away and try to make the most out of the acceleration here. Let's have a look now at the last section. So this is Old Hairpin, Starkey's Bridge and the drive up to Schwanzkurve. Turn 6 Schwanzkurve. So stay in 4th gear. Start leaning left while rolling the throttle off progressively. Apply low front brake pressure towards the end and reopen the throttle a little bit, really gently once past the apex. Here, basically, you want to keep as much corner speed as you can. You've got to be gentle here because you got leaning, so you can't brake hard, you can't be too aggressive. You just have to try and carry corner speed and not go too wide on the way to McLean's. As soon as you see it, you can aim for the line inside where that change of tarmac is. Now, if you want to use a little bit your front brake here, that will help you closing the turn, but apply gentle pressure because you've got some leaning here. Turn 7, McLean's. So you will be braking mid-track on entry, downshifting 2 gears from 4th to 2nd as soon as you start braking. Use your front brake to stop and also to change direction, just like the approach of the Old Hairpin. And here you want to pick up your bike on exit because the drive is really important. So it's another V-shaped corner for the exit. So make the most of it. And when I say pick up your bike, I mean lower the leaning to be able to accelerate harder. On the approach of McLean's, try not to go past mid-track. So you can use those black marks on the floor here as markers. As you go in the corner, don't go straight away to the apex. You want to try and grab a late apex here to be able to accelerate hard. So stay about a meter away from the curb. And as soon as you pick up the throttle, make your way to your late apex. You need to be as close as possible to that white line. And as soon as you pass your late apex, look far away and aim where this arrow is and get a good drive. You need to pick up your bike here, so put the bike on the fat part of the tire, reduce the leaning. Use your engine, use your power. It's really important to get a good drive here. So this is like a V-shaped corner. It's the first one since Redgate. So enjoy it and use the power of your bike. If you're feeling brave here, you can even use on the exit a bit of the white line or a little bit of the curb as well. Secret tip number 4, use an S-shaped line to put more power down. So you've probably seen that on TV quite a bit. So I'd say don't be shy and have a go. If you try and do that, you will be able to use more power and stay more pinned. You can also try to short shift to 3rd to try and keep the front wheel down. This is a place where this works quite well. Turn 8, copies. So downshift from 3rd to 2nd. That's to help braking. Brake hard initially in the uphill section. So as you get to it, when you start braking, this is uphill. So this is where you can shred the most speed. As the track then flattens, you start to release your brake and go into the corner. Let your bike run wide to about 2/3 of the track, short shift very early to 3rd gear, and then immediately try and go back tight inside and aim at the curb. As a braking marker, I use the curb here on the left, and I tend to brake about 5 to 10 meters before. Now this depends how good your exit was from McLean's and what bike you're using, but this is what you use as a visual marker. As the track flattens at the top, start easing your front brake pressure. Turn in, and as the track flattens at the top, start easing your front brake pressure. Turn in, and as soon as you see it, aim for that inside curb. This is not a place where you can wait or think about it. As soon as you see it, just aim for it. Once you pass the apex, let the bike run to about 2/3 of the track. Pick up your throttle in 2nd gear and short shift immediately to 3rd. And as soon as you see the inside curb on the exit, look at it and aim for it as well. A common mistake here is to stay too wide and spend too much time with leaning. Here there is a straight after that, so it's really important that you get good corner exit and you're able to accelerate hard. Secret tip number 5, stay left in the straight to have less wheelie on the crest. So there is a crest here at the end of that straight where used to be the Dunlop Bridge. And the crest on the left side of the track is actually much less pronounced than on the right side. So if you stay on the left, you'll be able to use more throttle, the bike will be less unstable, and you will be able to gain more speed. So stay left in the straight and make your way to the right side of the track as soon as the crest is passed. Let's have a better look at this last section in real speed. So this is Schwanz curve, McLean's, Copies and the back straight. Turn 9 and 10, foggy S's. So we're going to downshift from 4th to 2nd. Again, because I am riding a completely standard road bike, the gearing is quite long. So I'm getting there in 4th and foggy S's is in 2nd, but you might get there in 5th, depends on your gearing. So you might have to downshift 3 gears. Now, except on the race days where they paint the curbs with some special sticky paint, I would say to stay away from the curbs. The second one, actually, the right turn, you can gain time by cutting the curb, but if you're doing that without the sticky paint, it might be a bit dangerous. So on track days, for example, stay away from it. The really important thing here is to use the throttle pickup to change direction. You will see, I will show you that as we go into the corner. And also the acceleration out of it is very hard, so you need to lower the leaning and accelerate really strongly here. You can make up a lot of time. Now there is very little markers here for braking, so I tend to time the braking with the crest. Basically, as soon as I pass the crest and the front wheel comes down, then I start braking. When you go hard on the brakes, remember to downshift early as soon as you start braking, and aim down the curb, going towards the curb to the point where you're going to start tipping the bike up. As you start tipping the bike in, aim for the inside where that white line is. Now here the most important in foggy S's is to pick up your throttle really early to help you turning. What happens is you coming in, you got a lot of weight on the front and the bike can feel a bit heavy. As soon as you will get on the throttle, the bike will be much more inviting to turn. You will transfer weight back to the rear wheel and use your rear grip to help turning. You will hear it in that video. I pick up the throttle as soon as I'm at the white line. Once you've made your change of direction, pick your head up and look far away to accelerate hard out of the foggy S's. Now this is really important because from the foggy S's to Melbourne hairpin, there is a lot of time to be made up and you need to accelerate really hard. So reduce the leaning to be able to accelerate better on the fat part of the tire, and remember to look really far away. Secret tip number 6, use again the S-shaped line to be able to use more power, and use the drop-in revs to keep the front wheel down and stay 100% throttle. So it's very hard with a powerful bike to use all the power and 100% throttle from the foggy S's to the Melbourne hairpin. So when you rev come up in second gear, if you short shift a bit third gear, that will put your front wheel down, and the same when the rev come up in third gear, the front wheel has got a big tendency to do wheelie. So if you short shift to fourth a little bit, this will allow you to stay 100% throttle and use all the power available to you. This is not something easy to do, but when you get it right, it feels absolutely brilliant. Turn 11, Melbourne hairpin. So this one, very much a V-shaped corner riding style. Hard in, slow in the middle, hard out. We're going to be downshifting from fourth to first gear. You need to get a really late apex, and this is to get a good corner exit. So late apex, pick up your bike, reduce the leaning, fat part of the tire to accelerate hard. Also here, a common mistake is to carry too much corner speed in the middle. So you need to sacrifice that mid-corner speed. And don't go in the corner too early as well, because this will not allow you to get a late apex. As a visual braking marker, I use this change of tarmac that's about 10-15 meters from the start of the curb. I start braking just a little bit before that. As you start tipping the bike in, you will see the curb on the inside. Do not go for that. You need to stay about a couple of meters away. This will allow you to get a late apex. You're now in a really good position to get a very good drive out of Melbourne hairpin. So pick your head up, look at your late apex and get ready to get on the throttle. As soon as you pass the apex, pick up the bike quite aggressively. Like you saw that on that video here, I really picked up the bike, reduced the leaning. This will allow me to accelerate much harder on the fat part of the tire and look far away as well. You don't want to be looking at that curb on the left. You need to look far in the distance where that arrow is. You don't need to get any close to that white line, that curb. The most important thing is to look up and start to make your way back to the right side of the track in preparation to brake for Goddard, the last corner. Now let's take a look back in real speed at that last section, which is the Foggy S's and Melbourne hairpin. Turn 12, Goddard, last corner of the track, so another V-shaped riding style corner, so hard in, slow in the middle, hard out, downshifting from third to second. Now here we want to brake in a straight line alongside the right curb, so the right curb comes to you, so you want to be aiming at the end of the curb, and don't tip in early because it's really bumpy on the inside, so you need to go around that to be able to get late apex and accelerate hard out of it. I use this change of tarmac as a braking reference and start braking just after that. During the braking phase, you need to be looking far away, all the way down that curb. The curb comes to you, so you need to be looking at the end of it. As you get to the end of the curb, you can start tipping in, try brake a little bit and start tipping in. In the inside of that turn, there is quite a lot of bumps, so by tipping in late, you will miss all those bumps. You will grab a late apex and you'll be able to get a much better corner exit. As you crack the throttle open, now it's time to look at your late apex. So you need to be coming back really close to that line where that arrow is. Use that new tarmac as well, which is more grippy, to get a better corner exit. And as you pass the apex, pick up your bike, reduce the leaning, aim a long way down the curb and make the most out of it. Get a really good drive here because that's another straight that's really important. So the exit of this corner is going to determine how much speed you get in that straight. So pick up your bike and accelerate hard, looking far away. That's it, we've completed the lap. So now I'm going to show you this exact lap that we've been working on at full speed. Now this lap is a very decent lap time around Donnington. It's a 1:30.